Doctor Who fucking rocks. Compared to most of my other hyperfixations, I got into Doctor Who pretty late. I had only heard of it from The Big Bang Theory, of all things, oh my god, and for some reason I envisioned the show as a Coronation Street-styled soap opera, like a show mostly for grown-ups. You know you got elite British knowledge when you casually drop a Coronation Street mention. I used to rent DVDs from my local library, and one day I decided to rent a season. I put in the final disc, played a random episode, and... needless to say, Doctor Who became my entire personality for 3 years. I even got, my entire family into it, including my sister, who is definitely not standing behind the mic, holding a gun to my head and making me give her a shout-out. Nope, why the hell would you think that? Unfortunately, this series has been in a bit of a dark age for years now. Public opinion is low, and the discourse is not entirely unwarranted.
Ncuti Gatwa's first season was everything that people feared it would be. A big, campy, silly, preachy, poorly written mess of a show that relegated the Doctor, one of the most imposing, dangerous and intelligent characters in the universe, into the role of a crying, useless, effeminate moron who often gets pushed aside while other characters save the day.
No, hold your fucking horses, buddy! I did not say it was all valid! But when I tell you guys that this show used to be something special, I really mean it. I'm not here to review the new stuff, to be clear. It hasn't interested me for, years. I want to talk about the stuff that made me fall in love with the show at all. This video is actually about my favorite scene in Doctor Who. Given how I hyped the series up, you might expect that scene to be a big action set piece with really cool moments of spectacle, but no, I'm cheeky as shit. I did that to misdirect you. My favorite scene is the ending of The Girl in the Fireplace. For those who need a refresher, or decided not to read the content warnings because you're oh so rebellious, the Doctor, Rose, and Mickey land on a ship with mysterious connections to Madame de Pompadour. Through a clock on the mantle, the Doctor is able to enter into different points in her timeline. The plot thickens when the Doctor encounters the Clockwork Robots and their sinister goal, to power their ship with her head after her 37th birthday. When the day is saved, the Doctor invites her to travel with him, but when he returns to collect her, he finds that he was too late. Her husband hands the Doctor a letter which she wrote shortly before her death. After somberly reading it, learning in her final moments she was holding out hope that he'd come back one last time, he flies off the ship. We pan across the ship to reveal the reason the memory base was confused was because the ship was named the SS Madame de Pompadour. It's a classic. So classic that it ended up as an Easter egg in LEGO Dimensions. Which was really fun! And you can argue with the wall! The episode is all about time. The robots wait out Renette's time stream to complete their plot, the Doctor enters her life years apart, and it eventually tragically catches up to her. The show obviously tackles the concept of time and space travel every episode, that's a part of the main appeal, but I'd argue that few episodes come close to doing it as well as The Girl in the Fireplace. The Doctor surrounds himself primarily in the company of humans, and, in case any of you aren't aware, humans are mortal. Fucking crazy, right? The Doctor, on the other hand, is an immortal alien from another world.
I don't age. I regenerate. Humans decay. You wither and you die. Imagine watching that happen to someone that you...
Since the beginning, companions have come and gone, even the Time Lords. At one time he had his granddaughter, his home world and race, his best friend, but by the time we meet him in the revival series, they're all dead. The Doctor is forced to live out the same cycle all his lives. Meet someone, befriend them, go on adventures with them, lose them. Either because they chose to leave, or they're forced to. Normally this cycle happens in a season, or several different seasons, but The Girl in the Fireplace does it in a single episode. The Doctor meets Renette at the beginning of her life, embarks on an adventure that takes up no time at all for him, and yet most of her life. This is the Doctor's life on a micro scale. He's been everywhere, done nearly anything, and it all blends together after a while. Normally, the emotional impact on the Doctor isn't focused on. While we catch glimpses of misery, largely the show, and the Doctor himself, keeps busy by focusing on the adventures. However, Renette de Pompadour is one of the few characters to look into the mind of the Doctor.
Oh, Doctor. So lonely, so very, very alone.
You mean alone? You've never been alone in your life. When did you start calling me Doctor?
While having her mind read, Renette is able to peer into the Doctor's thoughts very briefly. Somehow. I'm not sure how this works, but what's more important is what she sees and how they react. She glimpses into his childhood, and one word quickly reaches her tongue. Lonely. The Doctor is lonely.
Lonely then and lonelier now.
Renette ponders how the Doctor could bear this pain, and the Doctor is instantly scared.
How can you bear it?
How did you do that?
He's questioning. At first, he was looking for answers to solve Renette's problem, and now he views Renette as a problem to be solved. He's not happy to be read like this. Again, I'm not sure how he didn't consider the possibility she'd be able to read his mind, so his reaction is only a little odd for me, given he's done this plenty before. I'm not clear on this mechanic, but whatever. He's vulnerable, and he's absolutely not comfortable with this. Renette wants to give him a fun experience, fill him with company and joy. The Doctor rejects this offer at first, saying it might have negative effects on the timeline, but even when she offers the logical reason that it won't, he protests.
I can't.
It's not that he genuinely feared the repercussions. Time in Doctor Who isn't set in stone, at least for the most part, and small changes to history don't affect the timelines in big ways. No, he doesn't feel he's worthy of company. His travels are about exploration, and very rarely does he allow himself to settle down and have a nice time.
Doctor Who. It's more than just a secret, isn't it?
What Renette clearly points out here is that the Doctor's name is more than just a cute mystery about himself, but rather an integral part of his personality. In our world, Doctor is a medical title prescribed to many different jobs. We'd rarely refer to a doctor by just that. They have an identity outside of it. When you go to a family doctor, you typically know them by Dr. So-and-so. But the name the Doctor has given himself is just that title and that title alone. He intentionally strips people of the opportunity to get to know the person.
Names are just titles. Titles don't tell you anything.
Like the Doctor.
I mean, the name of the show is literally Doctor Who. Very few people have ever had the honor of hearing his true name, and us, the viewers, are not one of them. Renette is now one of the few people the Doctor has ever known to get so much as a window into his own psychology. She likens him to that young boy on Gallifrey once again, saying that every young boy must learn how to dance, grabbing his hand and forcing him to partake. The Doctor projects quite the extroverted self-image onto the world, actively working to control every situation he's in.
I'd call you a genius, except I'm in the room.
And for once, he has no power. He is truly equal with Renette. And you know what? He has a fucking blast!
So have you met the French? My God, they know how to party.
Oh, look at what the cat dragged in, the oncoming storm.
You sound just like your mother.
Madame de Pompadour herself is a great character. It's very easy to remember her as the girl who wants to kiss the Doctor, which seems like a base requirement for half the damn companions nowadays. That's why Donna is objectively the best companion. But she's so much more than her sexuality. Rather, her interest in the Doctor is used as a puzzle piece. As a little girl, she first encountered the Doctor when he spoke to her mysteriously in her fireplace, hence the name of the episode, and later when he defeated the monster under her bed. The fireplace man, as she knew him, was intelligent and confident, and an older Renette would embody these two traits in every facet of her life. Yes, she was confident in her sexuality, saying this knowing my parents will probably watch is really uncomfortable, but also in her conduct. As I mentioned, she broke down the barriers the Doctor keeps very easily, and while afraid in the face of danger, she never gave in. Ever since she was a child, she was exposed to the evil in the universe, and at the same time, she met the good.
You think I fear you, but I do not fear you even now. You are merely the nightmare of my childhood. The monster from under my bed. And if my nightmare can return to plague me, then rest assured, so will yours.
And the doctor did return, proving that her faith was not misplaced. In return, she gifted him the original fireplace to link him back to his friends and the ship. Though it is worth mentioning that she likely did this out of nostalgia. She wouldn't know it would serve as a literal link back to the ship. And actually, until that point, the doctor thought he would be stuck here. He did this to save her, with the knowledge that he wouldn't get to go back. He genuinely cared for her, so much that he even invited her to travel on the TARDIS with him.
Still want to see those stars?
More than anything.
Give me 2 minutes. Pack a bag.
Am I going somewhere?
Go to the window. Pick a star. Any star.
Same man who refused to go dancing with her in case it would fuck with the timeline. Well, at least that was a part of it, as we've already gone over. But when he returns, well, I've already told you. I love the pathetic fallacy of this scene. Yeah, look at me using my big fancy literary terms. I'm so smart sometimes. The girl in the fireplace is lit very warmly. Yellow and orange make up the majority of the color palette in the France scenes, while the dark blues and blacks stay behind for the scenes on the ship. The closest exception to this would be the first duel with the clockwork robot at night, but even that scene had a warm yellow glow thanks to the lamp. The doctor literally brought light into that scene. Here, there is almost no warmth left. The rooms, which were once aggressively yellow, are now blue and pink. The king, clearly mostly indifferent toward his wife's passing, is allowed to be lit somewhat warmer by the candles, but it never reaches the doctor, symbolizing that her death has stung him. It sucked the warmth out of the place. The rain outside reflects the somber atmosphere of the scene, and I also love the clever separation between the king and the doctor within this shot. One cared about her, and the other was her husband. He gives the doctor the letter she wrote shortly before her passing. He saunters back to the TARDIS, clearly dejected, but changes his composure when he realizes Rose and Mickey are there. He happily answers Rose's question about the mission, but I want you all to pay attention to his answer.
Why did they think they could repair the ship with the head of Madame de Pompadour?
We'll probably never know.
The doctor, the man of logic, the man who overanalyzes the fuck out of every micro detail in front of him, gives up trying to find a reason. With the end of the episode in mind, the answer clearly wasn't that hard to find. Sure, he finds a possible answer, but he also gives up on the real solution. The problem solver is too dejected to find an answer to his problem.
You alright?
I'm always alright.
I mean, this speaks for itself. In typical Doctor fashion, he bottles up his emotions and doesn't let anyone know what's really going on with him. Rose can tell something's wrong, since the Doctor had been fairly vulnerable with her compared to most other companions. But Mickey, still not a fan of him, takes her out of the situation.
Come on, Rose. It's time you show me around the rest of this place.
When he's sure they're gone, the Doctor allows himself to read her letter. She starts it off by calling him,
My dear doctor.
Not dear doctor, but specifically, my dear doctor. The diction here already frames the letter as incredibly personal, as if she's writing to her partner, but it gets better.
The paths never seem more slow, and yet I fear I am nearing its end.
This is a clever allusion to what I was talking about earlier, the inevitability of death. Madame de Pompadour was a real historical figure. The episode is based on her, although obviously she never met any clockwork robots or Time Lords that we know of. A quick Google search reveals she died at 42, though the episode identifies her passing at 43. Either way, even though human mortality rates were lower in the 1700s, it's quite the young age for a person to pass. Assuming the Doctor aged roughly a year after Series 1, he would have lived 859 years longer than her. What felt like a slow path to her was quite literally no time at all for him.
Reason tells me that you and I are unlikely to meet again. But I think I shall not listen to reason.
That's a clever reference to the beginning of the episode when the Doctor said the same phrase.
Reason tells me you cannot be real.
Oh, you never want to listen to reason.
It also tells us she knew that she wasn't really going to see the Doctor, but he had never let her down before then. Her trust in him persisted well past the threat of the robots was defeated. Through him, she saw all things were possible, so why would it be different now? The next line reveals something pretty interesting.
Hurry though, my love.
It's no longer my doctor. She thought of him as if he were the love of her life. The king earlier was quite callous toward her death.
You know how women are.
This begs the question, Did they have a happy relationship? I don't mean historical figures, to be clear. I mean in-universe, and in-universe, I strongly doubt it. Renette said she loved him earlier, but that was before she had even met him, and she was clearly just joking to her friend about wanting to gain more status. She didn't even address him by his name earlier, merely his title.
This is my lover, the King of France.
And again, look at the diction. She addresses him as her lover. Making love to someone is not the same as having true love for them. Sex, and even marriage, does not automatically equal true love. She was married to the king, gaining her more wealth and status, but they did not love each other truly. The doctor was her love. She felt for him, she cared for him, wanted to be with him for the man he was, not his title, which I find especially ironic considering the doctor only goes by a title and the king obviously had a real name. He was a real dude.
My days grow shorter now, and I am so very weak. Godspeed, my lonely angel.
Her life was waning by the time she wrote this letter, and in her final moments, she was still clinging to the hope that she'd meet her love one last time. Her concluding the letter with a religious wish is a nice customary of the times, perhaps hoping there was a divine plan that entails her seeing the doctor. She likens the doctor to an angel, often depicted as beautiful creatures of divine purity. She thought he was perfect, despite what she knew he felt about himself. No matter how lonely he was, she wanted to be there for him. With the letter finished, the doctor stares blankly at it for a moment before slipping it back into his coat pocket, and looks back at the fireplace one last time before departing. The tragedy of this letter is that they never met again. The doctor never got to show her the stars, and she never got to see them. She waited until the day she died for an adventure that never came, and the doctor just lost yet another person, this time before he could even show them the wonders of the universe. He barely even began the cycle before death reared its menacing head. Maybe Renette should have listened to reason, or maybe the hope of seeing her lonely angel one last time gave her joy in her final moments. By the next episode, the Doctor's off on adventures once again, and that's really the beauty of his character. He's lost so many and so much, but keeps pushing through time and time again. The Doctor lost Renette before their journey could ever truly begin, and that sucks, but he kept going. He went on more adventures, saved more people. No matter how dejected and alone you feel, that should never stop you from doing the right thing. He doesn't stop. And no matter who you lose, you shouldn't either. Yeah. Doctor Who fucking rocks. Play the music! I don't have a music guy. Play the music, silly gopher!